I can still remember the day I stumbled upon my first Goosebumps book. It was on one of those rotating paperback racks in a chain drugstore, the exact same drugstore, in fact, that I bought my first Fun World Fantastic Faces mask from. At the time, not knowing the huge cultural relevance that either of these things would go on to have. I was 8 years old at the time, already fascinated by horror after sneaking peeks at movies like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Those films had left an impression on me. Freddy Krueger's burned face, Jason Voorhees' hockey mask, images I was too young to fully understand, but they sparked something in me, a curiosity about the things that lurk in the dark. The book was The Haunted Mask 2. I hadn't read The Haunted Mask 1. This was my first encounter with a Goosebumps book at all, but the cover drew me in instantly. It featured a grotesque, green, and decaying mask with sagging, wrinkled skin that gave it an aged and ghastly appearance. A piece of the forehead peeling off and folding over, a single crooked tooth, pointed ears that stuck straight out from its head, and wisps of stringy gray hair full of spiders. This all contrasted with the body, which was small and childlike, with an orange t-shirt tucked into blue jeans and red chucks. Jack-o'-lanterns sat on either side of the porch as the central figure climbed the stairs with a white pillowcase gripped firmly in one hand. The whole scene was shown as if from the perspective of someone opening the door for a trick-or-treater and being greeted by this grotesque visage. The series title, Goosebumps, appeared in its signature slime-dripping font in dark blue at the top of the cover, with raised bumps like actual goosebumps speckled across each letter over an orange background, while the book's title, The Haunted Mask 2, sat below the image in bold, basic lettering. I didn't know at the time, but the cover art was by Tim Jacobus, now well known for his iconic work across the Goosebumps series. The vibrant, eerie illustration on the front had me hooked before I even turned the first page. At that age, I was hungry for more of the strange and the spooky, but it needed to be more accessible than the slasher films I'd sneakily watched. Goosebumps felt like it was tailor-made for kids like me who craved thrills, but in a way that our parents would allow. The stories were thrilling, imaginative, and just scary enough to make my pulse race. They didn't rely on blood or gore, but instead tapped into something more universal, the fear of the unknown, the uncanny. Whether it was a haunted mask, a sinister dummy, or a werewolf lurking in the woods, each book transported me to a world where the ordinary twisted into the extraordinary. The chills were balanced with a sense of fun, which kept me coming back for more. These stories made me think about fear in new ways, playing with the tension of knowing something is wrong, but not being able to put your finger on it. For most of the rest of my elementary school career, I devoured the Goosebumps series. My mom let me join the Goosebumps book club, which provided me with new books to read every month. It was exciting to wait for those packages to arrive, each one promising new adventures filled with creepy creatures, haunted houses, or mysterious curses. I remember tearing open the mail, eager to dive into whatever twisted world R.L. Stine had crafted next. The anticipation of what stories were waiting inside fueled my imagination, and the books became a constant companion. I'd read them during recess, on the bus ride home, or late at night with a flashlight under the covers. These stories didn't just satisfy my love of horror, they deepened it. Every month brought new adventures, and with each book, my fascination with the macabre grew. It was through Goosebumps that I realized horror wasn't just about fear. It was about excitement, wonder, and discovery. It taught me that facing your fears, even in the pages of a book, was a journey worth taking. I also read the Give Yourself Goosebumps books, which were choose-your-own-adventure stories that allowed me to further immerse myself in the horror. These books added a whole new level of excitement because I got to make the decisions that would either lead the characters to safety or plunge them into even deeper danger. I felt like I was a part of the story, navigating haunted houses, cursed objects, and terrifying creatures based on my choices. The unpredictability of each turn made the experience even more thrilling, and it was often impossible to resist going back to see what would have happened if I had taken a different path. I had a Goosebumps-themed birthday party one year. It was the ultimate celebration for a kid obsessed with the series. We had Goosebumps plates, napkins, and a tablecloth, even a cake that was orange and black with a skull on it, a Halloween-themed cake, because that was the closest that we could get the bakery to make to an actual Goosebumps cake. I even dressed as Curly one year for Halloween. My costume was complete with a skull mask, a purple mohawk with a ponytail crafted by my mom out of plastic canvas and purple yarn, little round glasses, and a red bandana. While Curly never appeared within the pages of the Goosebumps books, he had become synonymous with the series as the official mascot, and I couldn't resist the chance to bring him to life for a night. I proudly transformed into Curly, ready to spread some spooky fun around the neighborhood. It was another way for me to connect with the Goosebumps books beyond the pages, an expression of how deeply the series had become a part of my identity as a young horror fan. The Goosebumps TV series was one of my first experiences with the cliche that the books are always better than the film, or in this case, the TV series. I was so excited to see my favorite stories come to life on the screen, but I was often disheartened when the episode didn't match up to what I had imagined. Sometimes it was because the adaptations didn't fully capture what was written on the page or in the cover art, but other times I found myself disappointed because the episode didn't align with aspects I had entirely made up in my own mind, details I had visualized while reading. It was a lesson in how powerful our imaginations can be and how different mediums often present stories in different ways, sometimes in ways that don't always live up to what we've created in our heads. Despite this, the TV series still held a certain charm. It wasn't perfect, but it introduced Goosebumps to a wider audience, and it was fun to see familiar characters and plots brought to life. Eventually, I outgrew the series and moved on to more mature horror fiction, but Goosebumps will always hold a special place in my heart. It was my gateway into the world of horror, where I first learned to appreciate the thrill of suspense and the art of a well-told, scary story. The series laid the foundation for my lifelong love of the genre, shaping my tastes and encouraging me to explore new, darker corners of horror fiction. That love for horror, seeded by Goosebumps, has stayed with me. As I grew older, I returned to the slasher films with new eyes, appreciating their ability to evoke terror, but also recognizing that horror as a genre was more than just gruesome kills. It's about the stories we tell ourselves in the dark, the monsters that symbolize our deepest anxieties, and the thrill of confronting what frightens us. From Goosebumps, I learned that horror was a genre full of endless possibilities, something I continue to explore and love to this day. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, can you please hit the like button? You can also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be updated whenever I upload a new video. And until next time, keep on creeping on.